Good evening, guests, families, and friends, and welcome to the 2026 College of Education graduation celebration. We will begin in about 8 minutes, so please find your seats and get ready to celebrate our graduates. Thank you.
Hello. Good evening, and welcome to the University of Washington College of Education's graduation celebration. My name is Mia Tuan, and as Dean of the College, I have the great privilege of serving as your MC this evening. What a joy it is to see this arena filled with so much excitement and pride. Tonight, we come together to celebrate a truly remarkable milestone for more than 700 graduates, including more than 500 who are here with us in person. Our graduates have arrived at this moment by many different paths. They are educators, researchers, counselors, policymakers, advocates, and leaders. They have balanced competing responsibilities, overcome challenges, supported one another, and worked tirelessly to reach this day. And now they are preparing to take what they've learned and make differences in communities here in Washington and far beyond. To the families, friends, mentors, faculty, staff, and loved ones who have encouraged these graduates along the way, thank you. Your support, guidance, patience, and belief in them helped make this moment possible, and we are so glad that you are here to celebrate alongside them. This evening is all about the class of 2026, a class defined by perseverance, purpose, and a deep commitment to serving others. We are incredibly proud of all they've accomplished and excited for what lies ahead. I'm also delighted to share a special milestone. Among tonight's graduates are 68 double dogs, students earning a second degree from the University of Washington's College of Education. We are honored to begin this celebration with prayers and blessings shared through song and drumming by Coast Salish and Tulalip community members. Their presence reminds us of the deep history of this place and the importance of gathering in community. Please join me in thanking all of the singers and drummers for blessing this place. And now, family and friends, it is my great pleasure to introduce the 147th graduating class of the University of Washington College of Education. Families and friends, may I present to you the class of 2026. Please be seated. I'd now like to take a moment to honor the land on which we gather. As we celebrate this important milestone, we do so with gratitude for the place that brings us together and for the Indigenous communities whose stewardship of this land continues today. The University of Washington acknowledges the Coast Salish people, on whose ancestral lands we stand, the land which touches the shared waters of all tribes and bands within the Suquamish, Tulalip, and Muckleshoot nations. We honor with deep gratitude the land itself and the many Indigenous peoples who continue to live, work, lead, and thrive in this place, alive and strong. This acknowledgement is one step in an ongoing and lifelong practice of learning, listening, building relationships, and standing in solidarity with Indigenous communities. May we carry that commitment with us not only today, but in the work we do long after we leave this celebration. Graduates, this is a day I know you've long anticipated, a day to celebrate how far you've come and to look ahead with hope and purpose to the impact you'll make in the world. But today is also a moment to reflect on the people who have walked beside you on this journey. Your family, your friends, your mentors, your peers. Each of them has offered support, encouragement, and love, especially during the difficult moments. Many of them are here tonight, beaming with pride and sharing in your joy. Graduates, I invite you now to turn, find your people in the crowd, and show them your appreciation. Thank you. In a few moments, we'll hear from our keynote speaker, as well as two powerful voices from the class of 2026. But first, I'd like to share a few thoughts on the theme that unites all of tonight's reflections: solving for X. Many of us first encountered X in a high school algebra class. It represented the unknown, some problem or equation we needed to solve. But as I think about all of you and the paths that brought you here, I'm reminded that life is full of its own versions of X. Sometimes X is a question we are trying to answer. Sometimes it's a challenge that seems impossible to untangle. Sometimes it's a goal, a purpose, or a future we cannot yet fully see. The truth is that, unlike in algebra, in life there is rarely just one answer, one X. Each of you arrived at this moment by solving for your own X. You balanced responsibilities, overcame obstacles, adapted to unexpected turns, and continued moving forward, even when the path ahead wasn't always clear. Through perseverance, curiosity, and determination, you found your way here. And now, as graduates of the University of Washington College of Education, you will help others solve for X as well. Whether you become a teacher, counselor, researcher, administrator, policymaker, advocate, or community leader, your work will involve helping people navigate uncertainty, ask meaningful questions, and discover possibilities they may not yet see for themselves. The world needs people who are willing to engage with complex challenges, seek new solutions, and remain committed to creating opportunities for others. It needs people who understand that progress often begins not with having all the answers, but with the courage to keep searching for them. And you're ready. You've been prepared by one of the top public colleges of education in the nation. You've studied, practiced, collaborated, and persevered. You carry with you not only knowledge and expertise, but also the compassion, integrity, and commitment needed to make a meaningful difference in the lives of others. Tonight, our speakers will share their own reflections on solving for X and on the possibilities that await beyond this remarkable milestone. And on that note, it is my great honor to introduce our keynote speaker for this evening, Roxana Nowrouzi. Roxana is a visionary leader, organizer, educator, and advocate for immigrant and refugee communities. As Executive Director of One America, she leads one of Washington State's most influential organizations dedicated to building leadership, strengthening civic engagement, and advancing justice and opportunity for immigrants and refugees. Roxana began her journey with One America as an organizing intern and has spent more than 2 decades helping communities build the power to shape the policies and systems that affect their lives. Under her leadership, One America has deepened its commitment to developing grassroots leaders, advancing educational opportunity, and creating lasting change through community action and collective voice. A proud University of Washington alumna and longtime champion for equity and belonging, Roxana's work reflects a simple but powerful belief that the people closest to challenges are often best positioned to create the solutions. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Roxana Neruzzi.
Good evening, graduates. To all the family, loved ones, faculty, staff, mentors, and communities who've helped make this moment possible, thank you for surrounding these graduates with your care, encouragement, and belief. Woo! Yeah. And from one Husky to another, congratulations, class of 2026. Tonight is not only about what you have accomplished, but about who you have become. You came to the College of Education with your own stories, identities, hopes, and questions. And now, you're leaving with something even more powerful: the ability to shape the lives of others. I'm especially honored to be here with you all tonight because education has shaped every chapter of my own life. For more than 2 decades, I've worked with immigrant and refugee communities as a community organizer, advocate, and leader. Thank you. And throughout that time, I've seen something that reinforces what many of you already know: relationships change lives. Helping people feel seen, valued, and capable of more than they imagined can alter the course of a lifetime. And some of the most important people doing that work are educators. Most of us came into education believing we were solving for something specific: how to help a student learn, how to promote achievement, and how to make systems more equitable. But over time, many of us realized the X that we're solving for is even bigger than we imagined. We're solving for the well-being of our communities. We're solving for the strength of our democracy. We're solving now more than ever before for the kind of society that we want to be. And we're solving for the future. So as I was reflecting on solving for X, I began asking myself, what is the formula for a transformational future? These are the elements: belonging, power, community, and joy. We'll talk about each of them tonight. Here's what I believe: educational spaces have enormous power to help us imagine what is possible for ourselves and for our futures. And I know this because of how education shaped my own life. As the daughter of immigrants from Iran, I entered school in the US carrying pride in my language, my family, and my culture. In fact, one of the first words my mom taught me to say in English was bilingual. She made sure I knew speaking English and Farsi is what made me special. But in first grade, I was called into the principal's office and told I needed to be held behind because of my perceived second language skills. I remember feeling defeated, ashamed, and angry. I wondered how something that was celebrated at home could be viewed as such a problem at school. My parents, who are both here tonight, they refused to accept this label. They fought for me, and eventually, because of their persistence, I was put back into the classroom with my peers. And even though my teacher was mistaken, I was, in fact, on track and achieving. I was told 1,000 times, in words, in actions, and sometimes simply in a glance, that people like me, we didn't belong. So I internalized the notion that I had to either hide parts of my identity for academic success or be labeled behind if I held on to my language and who I really was. Those experiences taught me something I have carried my whole life. Educators have the power to label students, but they also have the power to liberate students from labels. They have the power to cultivate belonging and call students into their greatness. For me, this happened in third grade with my teacher, Mrs. Carter. My essay, Perils of the Playground, was selected as the best in class. That's my mom. She's still cheering for me over there. For the first time, I realized my story mattered, my culture mattered, and that I was smart. Mrs. Carter solved for something much bigger than an essay assignment. She solved for confidence. She solved for possibility. She solved for the first part of the equation, belonging. For me, that shift didn't end in the classroom. It became the foundation of a lifetime of organizing, advocacy, and leadership. Because once you understand your own power, then you ask a different question. How can we create power together that makes change? 16 years ago, I joined the immigrant rights movement, starting as a UW graduate school intern and eventually rising to become the executive director. Now, I wake up every day thinking about how I can build power for immigrants. And understanding power as a key part of the equation is one of the most important lessons I've learned. Early in my career, when I worked as a case manager, I supported families navigating housing and other systems. I cared deeply for my clients, but I often felt the limits of my role. I could help one family at a time, but I couldn't change the systems shaping their lives. Then, in 2006, I went to my first immigrant rights march in Seattle. Walking down Jackson Street, I saw thousands of people moving together. And then I began to recognize faces, my clients, holding signs and demanding dignity and belonging alongside millions of others across the country, collectively turning their private pain into public demands. And I learned change doesn't happen because one person speaks out. It happens when people act together, from silence to fearlessness, from isolation to solidarity. That experience led me to One America, where we've worked alongside communities and many of you to achieve major wins. Protections for immigrants, expanding voting rights, culturally relevant childcare, and millions of dollars in multilingual education to shift language in our schools from being a deficit to an asset. And all of you, faculty who are sitting behind me, graduates who are sitting in front of me, students and activists, all of you who are about to cross the stage and get your diplomas, we did that together. And you see, these are more than just policy wins. It proves that when ordinary people, like all of us, come together, we can transform what is possible. And like it is for you, for me, this work is personal. It is about turning my own experiences of exclusion into a different future for the next generation, including my son Omid, who is here tonight, is growing up bilingual. Because of these wins, I know he will have a radically more just experience in school than I did. Hi, Omid. And graduates, that is not so different from what you are being called to do. You are entering this work at a moment when our country is facing profound challenges. Families are being separated due to immigration enforcement. Authoritarianism is rising while democracy is being undermined and destroyed. People in our own country are being murdered for protesting or senseless hate crimes. And millions of innocent lives have been lost globally due to war and genocide. These are not normal times. I'm going to say it again. These are not normal times. The stakes are high, and the fight for justice rests on all of our shoulders. But here is the important part. We have power in all of this, because democracy is not sustained by institutions. It is sustained by we, the people. But we must choose to not be complacent. We must solve for the power we need to build the world we want to live in, a world in which everyone is free, even if that freedom does not happen in our lifetime. Norma Wong, an Indigenous Hawaiian leader, taught me we have to look at the horizon and take the long arc view. It might take 7 generations to see the world we dream of, but the seeds we are sowing today will move us closer to that vision. Graduating from this institution is a tremendous privilege. As a double Husky, it's one I hold very close. So I challenge you to think about what risks, actions, and sacrifices will you make that future generations will celebrate 100 years from now? How are you going to use your privilege to do more than diagnose problems, but take responsibility for the work of achieving their solutions? And how will you use your role as an educator to, in the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., bend the moral arc of the universe a little more towards justice? That is not small work. That is nation-shaping work. And as you move from the university into the world, your job is to be stewards of the future, and to do so with power, not with power over each other, but with power with each other. And if we're going to do this work for the long term, if we are going to keep choosing belonging, justice, and power, then we also have to talk about the final part of the equation, community and joy. Graduates, I want you to take a moment and look around. Look at the people who believed in you, who picked up the phone when you needed a pep talk, who dropped off a meal to keep you nourished, who shaped you and put you on a path like my parents did in my first grade intervention. These are your people. And to the faculty, staff, partners, families, and loved ones here tonight, thank you. Thank you for being here for these remarkable graduates and for being a part of their decision to pick a career path that is about justice and shaping the future. They, all of you, are what give us hope that the future our ancestors dreamed of for us is possible. Graduates, as the conditions and social problems get more difficult, and they will get more difficult, it is your people and your joy that will carry you through. In a world that will ask a lot of you, choosing joy is a radical act towards our liberation. Joy is not separate from the equation. Joy is essential to the equation. So protect your joy, stay connected to your people, and trust yourself. You got this. So now, as I reflect on everything I've learned, as a daughter of immigrants, as an organizer, as a leader, and as a fellow Husky, I think I finally have the answer to my math assignment. Maybe the equation looks something like this: belonging plus power plus community plus joy equals the conditions where people can thrive. Because when people feel like they belong, they discover their power. When people discover their power, they build community. When communities come together, they create change. And when communities experience dignity, connection, and joy, they don't just survive, they are free. Not only free from oppression, but have the freedom to be equal, valued, and loved. That is the world we are being called to build. And so now, graduates, it is your turn to help solve for X. So go forward with courage, power, community, and plenty of joy. And as I close, I want to invite us all into a moment of joy together. So I'm a big fan of 80s and 90s music. And on those difficult days, when I think the world is crumbling and all the weight is on my shoulders and solving for X is just too much, I dance. So if you're able, please stand up. Stand up, everybody, faculty, graduates, stand up. Find your release, enjoy, and dance. Because in the world of Disney Houston, sometimes we all need to dance with somebody.
your deep commitment to belonging, community, and joy. We're deeply grateful. It's now my pleasure to introduce our graduate student speaker, Zain Suleiman. I see he has his fan club. Okay, today Zain graduates with a Master in Teaching degree in elementary teacher education. Born and raised on Seattle's East Side, Zain brings a rich perspective shaped by his experiences as an Ismaili Muslim and by family roots that span Tanzania, South Africa, and Pakistan. Those experiences have deepened his belief in the power of education to bring people together across differences and help build stronger, more connected communities. As an educator, Zain is committed to helping young people lead with kindness, compassion, curiosity, and respect for others. He hopes to inspire his students to see themselves not only as learners, but as global citizens with the ability to make a positive difference in the world. Please join me in warmly welcoming to the podium Zain Suleiman.
Thank you so much. Good evening, University of Washington College of Education community. Assalamu alaikum, which means may peace be upon you in Arabic. My name is Zain Suleiman, and it has been one of the greatest honors of my life to be a part of the Masters in Elementary Teaching program here at the University of Washington. This year has taught me so much, not just about teaching, but about people, humanity, and the kind of world that we want to leave behind for the next generation. Tonight, speakers were asked to reflect what it means to solve for X. And I've been thinking a lot about what X really means. Growing up on the east side of Seattle in suburban America, I was surrounded, like many of us were, by a culture that was constantly telling us what mattered. Social media, fame, money, status, chasing the bag and looking perfect. Consumerism taught us to focus on the outside instead of the inside. And for a while, I actually believed that too. But when I was a teenager, both of my parents were diagnosed with cancer. And suddenly, everything changed. Because when you sit beside the people you love in moments of uncertainty, you realize that life is not about appearances, popularity, or possessions. It's about people, and it's about kindness. My father used to always tell me, live simply so others can simply live. And that wisdom stayed with me. You see, my family comes from Tanzania, South Africa, and Pakistan. And as an Ismaili Muslim, my faith taught me values that have deeply shaped who I am. Service, compassion, pluralism, and the belief that our responsibility is to leave the world better than how we found it. In our community, we pray in what we call a Jamaat Khana, a mosque and gathering space. And growing up there taught me that faith is not just about belief, it's about how we treat people, and it's about serving humanity. So I started volunteering at my local Jamaat Khana, working with children and families from Afghanistan, East Africa, and immigrant communities right here in Seattle. And those kids changed my life. They reminded me that every single child deserves dignity, opportunity, and belonging. And that's when I realized that education was my calling. Because educators do far more than teach reading and math. Educators shape hearts. We help students discover their voice, and we teach empathy in a world that profits from division. I remember working with a student who had hesitated before speaking in class, unsure if their voice even belonged in the room. And in remembering that experience, X becomes clear to me. X is belonging. X is creating spaces where children feel safe enough to speak, brave enough to dream, and valued enough to be themselves. And that is what educators do every single day. We solve for humanity. And right now, humanity needs us. Because across the Middle East, families are living through war after war. And across sub-Saharan Africa, millions of people are still facing hunger and poverty, while much of the world looks away. We are living in a time where We are living in a time where greed, division, and selfishness are often rewarded. But I believe that we can choose a different path. To my fellow graduates, never underestimate the impact that you're about to have on this world, because one kind teacher can change the trajectory of a child's life forever. We can inspire children to become kinder, more compassionate, more accepting, and even more courageous. And to everyone here tonight, families, friends, faculty, and staff, you are changing the world too. Through kindness, through service, and through standing up for people who feel unseen, because we never really know what someone else is carrying. As a Muslim growing up in America, there were moments where I felt ashamed to fully embrace who I was because of how we're portrayed in society. But over time, I've realized something important. None of us should have to hide who we are in order to belong. Not me. Not me, not you, definitely not our students. No one. Because beneath all of these labels and divisions, we are one human family. And maybe that is the real answer to X. Maybe solving for X means choosing empathy over ego, service over selfishness, and love over fear. And maybe, just maybe, if we can commit to that together, the next generation won't just inherit the world that we've given them, maybe they'll heal it. I want to say thank you so much to the incredible faculty, staff, families, and communities who helped all of us here reach this moment today. To my fellow graduates, I'm so proud of you all, and I know you're going to do amazing things in this world. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak here today. Congratulations to the class of 2026. Much love, and until the end, go Dogs. Peace out.
Thank you, Zane. All right, now the moment has come to honor our graduating doctoral, specialist, and master's students. As we begin recognizing each of our graduates, please remember that only graduates and event staff are permitted on the arena floor. Professional photographers will be capturing this special moment for each graduate, and these photos will be made available to you after the ceremony. We have many students to honor this evening, so I kindly ask for your patience as we celebrate everybody's achievements. And it's now my pleasure to invite Dr. Carol Davis, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs and Research, to introduce our doctoral specialists and master's degree candidates.
Thank you. We're so grateful that you are here this evening to celebrate these remarkable graduates. We will begin by recognizing our doctoral graduates. These individuals have dedicated many years, often 3 to 6, to intense study and original research, all while balancing work and family. Throughout their programs, they have asked important questions. As they step forward as researchers, educators, policymakers, and psychologists, they will make meaningful impacts locally, nationally, and around the world. As we read their names and the faculty members present each graduate with their doctoral hoods, we encourage everyone to celebrate their achievements on social media using hashtag EdGrads26 and UWGrads. Let's give them all our congratulations.
Heather Cook, dissertation title, Dispositional Mindfulness, Self-Compassion, and Observed Parenting Behaviors in Early Infancy.
Robin Margaret Finlayson, her dissertation title, Her dissertation title is called Collaborative Caregiver Coaching for Autistic Children with Sleep Problems.
EJ Wang, dissertation title, Beyond Classroom Averages, Reframing and Measuring Quality at the Individual Child Level in Early Childhood Education.
Jennifer Gall, dissertation title is Teacher Participation in Equity-Focused Family Engagement.
Yale Benjamin Kwan, dissertation title, Culturally Responsive Measurement, Machine Learning and Artificial Intelligence Approaches to DIF Detection, Parameter Estimation, and Scoring.
Sarah May London, her dissertation title, go ahead. Her dissertation title is Teaching Qualitative and Indigenous Research Methods through Reflective, Inquiry-Based, and Two-Eyed Seeing Pedagogical Approaches to Uplift Tribal-Serving Public Health Researchers.
Ha Run, dissertation title, Bridging Psychometrics and Large Language Models, Novel Methods for Differential Item Functioning Detection and Large Language Model Evaluation.
Baja Faham Mohammed Al-Salami. Dissertation title, Examining the Integration of STEAM Learning on Early Childhood Curriculum and Instruction in Saudi Arabia.
Rebecca Ray, dissertation title, Disrupting Siloed Spaces in Teacher Education, Collaborative Learning in Pursuit of Critical Inclusive Literacy for Multilingual Learners Labeled with Disabilities.
Yuen Jen Guo. Dissertation title, Integrating Family Quality of Life-Based Support into Function-Based Parent-Implemented Intervention for Families of Young Autistic Children, a Pilot Mixed Methods Study.
Camille Aguilar Unco Santos. Dissertation title, Archipelagic Thinking in Teacher Education, Mapping Transactional Identities and Relations of Asian American and Filipino Teacher Candidates.
Chi Beck. Dissertation title, Understanding Early Childhood Educators' Attitudes on Communication Practices and AAC, a Mixed Methods Study.
Shinjong Lee, dissertation title, Breaking Our Silence, a qualitative research on Chinese-speaking first-generation immigrant elementary teachers' life histories and development in identity, literacy, and justice pedagogy.
Yiqing Watkins Xu. Dissertation title, Adapting a Teacher-Child Interaction Training for Young Multilingual Learners with Disabilities, a Mixed Methods Study.
I'm so glad you Grace Cornell Gonzalez. Dissertation title, Transforming Critical Listening Through Co-Design. Latinx families and bilingual teachers collaboratively reimagine dual language literacy curriculum.
Gina Tesorero. Dissertation title, Designing for Responsible and Empowering Gen AI Research Policy and Practice, Young Adults with Special Education and Neurodiversity Experiences Meaningfully Navigating Risks and Opportunities.
Kiana Smith. Dissertation title, Reimagining and Enacting Just Educational Futures for Indigenous Educators and Students through co-design with the Native Auntie Collective.
Sun Yuxian Rachel. Dissertation title, A Mixed Method Pilot Evaluation of the Cultural Adaptation of Ruby Parent Training with Chinese American Families.
Yang Shun Ho, Liavux, Indigenous Futurity Making in Urban Spaces, Considering Affect and Embodiment in Learning for Indigenous Self-Determination Across Urban Lands and Waters in Taiwan.
Jason Schwartz. Dissertation, Summer Treatment Program Professional Development, Impact of a Professional Learning Community.
Arwen Yawen Chio, Beyond Intervention, a mixed method study of how victims perceive and respond to bystander actions in peer aggression contexts.
Emelise Luzo Mitchell. Dissertation title, From Clinic to Classroom, Investigating IEPs and Diagnostic Clinical Evaluation Recommendations for Students with a Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder Diagnosis.
Christopher Mangona. Dissertation title, Building the Conditions for Justice, Elementary Teachers' Learning, Agency, and Uptake of Justice-Centered Practices in a Liberatory Learning Environment.
Katrina Elise Kerrigan. Dissertation title, How Can a Wellness and Resilience Course Support Universal Undergraduate Mental Health, a Mixed Method Study.
Matt Stewart, dissertation title, Collaborative Teacher Learning for Equitable Approaches to Science Education.
Lauren Perlmutter. Dissertation title, Using Parents as Implementers in a Sibling-Mediated Intervention to Improve Joint Attention in Children with Autism Spectrum Disorder.
Jennifer Nguyen, dissertation title, Navigating Expectations, Negotiating Well-Being, Racialized Discourse on Asian Diasporic Youth and Well-Being.
Jung Yua Bella Lee. Dissertation title, I Am Not a Sit and Wait Person. Engagement and Outcomes in a Longitudinal Mixed Method Study of an iPad-Delivered Art-Based Mindfulness Intervention.
Alex Leo, dissertation title, AI-Powered K-12 Instruction, Educator AI Interaction, Teacher-Authored Student AI Interaction, and Nudges. Megan Furrick. Across context, variations in stress, resilience, and the mental health and well-being of American Indian and Alaska Native college students at a predominantly white institution. Patrick Gibson, examining the predictive validity of 3 measures of reading in elementary school.
Congratulations, doctoral graduates. Now it's time to recognize our educational specialist, Masters of Education, and Masters in Teaching graduates. These graduates have committed themselves to meeting academic, social, and the emotional needs of youth across our communities. Our educational specialist graduates will become nationally certified school psychologists, providing vital psychoeducational assessments, consultation, counseling, and services in schools. Our Masters of Education graduates will step into roles as educational administrators, policymakers, teachers, curriculum specialists, community advocates, and leaders within nonprofit organizations. Among our Masters in Teaching graduates are the educators of tomorrow, literally, bringing their classrooms deep content knowledge, research-informed teaching strategies, and steadfast commitment to improving the lives and outcomes of all students. Again, before we begin reading their names, we ask that everyone remain in their seats until all graduates have been recognized so that everyone receives their gratitude. Thank you.
Emma Catherine Strobin.
Tylin Singleton.
Sydney Brown.
Catherine Wise.
Shelby Frank.
Alec Lee Hogan.
Lucy Ganner.
Alyssa DeMello.
Richard Henry Culpepper III.
Adepasola Simisola Adekoya.
Andy Fusaro.
Serena Short.
Donghang Wang.
Lauren Allen.
Jari Marlori Canafuego.
Nicholas Cristallo.
Fei Fei Chen.
Eden Saunders.
Tyler Manuel.
Ananya Rabaya.
Hadley Wilhoit.
Tyler Singleton.
Daniela Perez Orozco.
Josie Wang.
Hyun Na Kim.
Brenda Duarte.
Le Huang Fong Vi.
Michelle Renee Rico Sisto.
Fatima Elisa Dipolito Alcocer.
Nathan Forte.
Raven Zhang.
Anila Ray Domingo.
Christina Leanne Ricardo.
Bella Hume.
Greta Huber.
Susana Andrea Parnell Mondaca.
Mackenzie Knowles.
Kiana Hutton.
Amanda Bunam.
Melissa Gallegos.
Taylor Ginger.
Adriana Thompson.
Spencer Cloak.
Andrea Malagon.
Cape Emmanuel Cosmos.
Isabel Edwards.
Julie Crew.
Grace Kim.
Irislyn Monteith.
Jalami Sanabria Rios.
Suzeth Alarcon.
Mary Karagidze.
Catherine Torres Fernandez.
Andy Nix.
Rebecca Suferling.
Ian Chandralem.
Sophia Pellegrini.
Katami Chow.
Jessica Margarita Aguilar.
Siasin Leo.
Grace Henneford.
Kamala Omarova.
Luis Montero.
Sang Mai.
Momo Song Suzuki.
Nazim Malikova.
Aaron Q2.
Kate Newark Pasco.
Lucinda Alberta Sircan.
Madison Page Robbins.
Huang Phi Wen.
Aranya Kitnikone.
Elsie De La Rosa.
Kelly Malloy.
Munira Ali Albana.
Mauricio Mahano.
Chantel Laurent Calandrette.
Andrea Litzenberger Stitch.
Alexander Brown.
Jessica Weaver.
Angela Simpson.
Kristen Amber Park.
Anundi Gerg.
Yue Chin Tai.
Marty Thorderson.
Mercy Na Kin.
Wan Ping Wu.
Mirna Landa.
Lorraine Gordolan Dupaya Hernandez.
Charlie Shi.
Louis Gestoni Dupaya.
Naomi Ramirez Alvarado.
Gemma O'Neill.
Julie Armour Smith.
Sarah Bradford.
Kira Havel.
Mumina Hassan.
Audrey Shafia Dwinandita.
Shasta Bowen.
Lydia Plesher.
And Katia Brownstein.
Kelvin Schultz.
Leah McLean.
Sammy McMahon.
Samantha Browning.
Zoe Jean Abrams.
Kelly McCarville.
Aileen Natasha Nichols.
Erin Michelle Stevenson.
Astrid Linnea Hunter.
Yamam Elizabeth Dow.
Jose Maldonado.
Crystal Liu.
Cyrus Lide.
Rachel Manico.
Shia Swan.
Waylon Wright.
Jack Clinch.
Yaxuan Huang.
Grace Callahan.
Zitong Wang.
Carla Guerrero.
Edwin Sebrian.
Melanie Barrera Lopez.
Juhi Anil Dave.
Yufan Drew.
Madeline Lumita Cordaway.
Aria Hay.
Lexi Marie Senegal.
Owen Shah.
Sarah Kwama.
Moss.
Shauna Sierra Fan.
Sierra Wang.
Dia Call.
Diane Shi Wang.
Amelia Matarang.
Reese Lavelle.
Ruby Yukiko Higashi.
Max Stelzner.
Taylor Collins.
Max Anthony Collins.
Hazel June Delcanton Borden.
Zain Suleiman.
Tiana Kajoski.
Emma Holden.
Mary Donahue.
Gracelyn Evers.
Andrea Tang.
Olivia Joanne Tanujaja.
Mia Duong.
Gabriela Renee Espinosa Duarte.
Natasha Lalwani.
Gabriel Corsmo.
Abigail Smith.
Charissa Holcomb.
Cora Taylor.
Nathan Beck.
Brianna Chan.
Charlize Manzano.
Imogen Strelick.
Nick Wright.
Scout Faye.
Isaac Punichab.
Kushaveen Kaur.
Sarah Blair.
Ava Isarankura.
Stephanie Yu.
Fedora Izwagbe.
Jamie Stout.
Jada Daniels.
Amado Chacon. Hi.
Eric Stanley Bossler.
Isabella Shields.
Hunter Orcutt.
Joseph Jenkins.
Amethyst Zhang.
Jacob Leibold. Jacob Leibold.
Ana Di Rasala.
Paulo Sotero de Menezes.
Jaewon Paik.
Ellie Lights.
John Joseph Falvey III.
Lizzie Adams.
Miriam Andrea Martinez.
Good to see you too. Shelby Canterbury.
Jacob Norris.
Eric Merritts.
Lillian Nguyen.
Catherine Tui.
Julia Cope.
Maya DeCaro.
Emily Monique Declines.
Lydia Vanderberg.
Deanna McKay.
Tyler Albin.
Noah Uritsky.
Duncan Ober.
Abby Nelson.
Lauren Hudson.
Anna Kwasnika.
Mayan Tran.
Alejandra Herringer.
Lexi Helms.
Isabel Garza.
Joseph Antela Hall.
Yuna Song.
Gerardo Bermudez.
Divinity Dodge.
Jimmy Huynh.
Eda Ku.
Caleb Oren.
Addison Knapman.
Allie Shearman.
Kayla Meixner.
Callie May Loney.
Chi Yijwen.
Maddie Baker.
Riley Mintz.
Avery Monsef.
Anthony Nguyen Lee.
Max Leon Dixon.
Alida Castillon.
Just keep coming. Reka Tiffany Ono.
Eve Ann Cade.
Moana Mikawa.
Julie Brooke Shea.
Yejin Lee.
Bevan Kelly.
Jaru Mehino.
Lily Kathleen Stimpson.
Esther Jean Lee.
Lilia Mae Nelson.
Selena Zawaldi.
Yes. Danietta Coco Sanford.
Oh, sorry, Jasmine. Gotta have a moment there. Jasmine Lynn.
Mackenzie Jameson.
Austin Dang.
Mackenzie Beard.
Van Liu.
Lee Truong.
Andre Nguyen.
Laura Jaquinto.
Sergio Sedano.
Lauren Formigli.
Rain Wu.
Wee Runrot Rotsup Harris.
Thomas Grigsby.
Mindy Truong.
Carmen Young.
Annie Burt.
Yeah, we got Ana Delia Gonzalez Scott.
Sam Hart.
Stephanie Nicole Hernandez Appleyard.
Cormac Russell Diggins.
Huan Nguyen.
Lux Cardell.
Callista Orquiola.
James Whitney Parker Kahn.
Lucia Elena Alt.
Christina DeCoster.
Brooks Scribner.
Deanna Deshay Didi Gatlin.
April Jang.
Sasha Natalie Avogado.
Jinyi Wan.
Shirley Olakuro.
Olivia DeYoung.
Starla Autumn Skelton.
Malika Rosenfeld.
Maeve Olson Finnegan.
Justin Cleaver.
Jaden Weatherspoon.
Hien Mi Vo.
Moira Jones.
Chloe Brown.
Minnie Smith.
Karina Garcia Marin.
Javin Nash Harris.
Nada de nervios. Jasmine Molinero Huipe.
Matthew Cordova.
Tiffany Monique Romero.
Claire Porter Boudour.
Jessica Felix.
Namaka Awidecker.
Sophia Randall.
Edie Ventrilla.
Rebecca Hinojosa Lopez.
Rukaya Cisse.
Ori Chihomsky.
Autumn Reed.
Aziza Bekirova.
Isabella Rentz.
Rosalinda Romo.
Brian Waits.
Sue Choi.
Molly Crone.
Monica Tuparani.
Madison Paulus. No.
Lucy Clark.
Claire Yiwen Wu.
Janet Trujillo.
Eden Van Son.
Emily Beth Furnival.
Sophia Garcia Jimenez.
Italia? Gabriel or Gabriel? Okay. Gabriel Michael Italia. Gabriel? Okay. Oh. Gabriel Abelar. Sana Mahmood. Hannah Sternberg.
Please join me in congratulating all our new doctoral, specialist, and master's graduates. You should be incredibly proud. It is now my pleasure to introduce our undergraduate student speaker, Nadir Abdul Salam. Today, Nadir graduates with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Early Care and Education through our online degree program. A recipient of the college's Early Learning Equity Scholarship, Nadir's journey reminds us that there is no single path to earning a college degree. As a husband, father of 3, working professional, and full-time student, he has balanced countless responsibilities while remaining deeply committed to his education and his future. His perseverance, discipline, and dedication have carried him to this moment. As a non-traditional student, Nadir brings a perspective that is not always heard on commencement stages, but one that reflects the experiences of so many learners who pursue higher ed while caring for families, supporting loved ones, and navigating the demands of everyday life. His story is a powerful reminder that determination, growth, and achievement can take many forms. We're honored that he is sharing his voice and his experience with us this evening. Please join me in a warmly welcoming Nadir Abdul Salam to the podium.
Thank you, Dean Twan. And good evening to my fellow graduates, our families and loved ones, our faculty and staff, and everyone who helped us reach this moment. Thank you. Today we celebrate something extraordinary. We celebrate years of hard work, sacrifice, perseverance, and growth. Each of us arrived here through a different path, but we share something important. We all kept going. And along the way, we spent a lot of time searching for answers. We searched for answers in textbooks and research articles. We searched for answers in lectures, discussions, internships, and field experiences. We searched for answers to questions about our disciplines, our communities, and ourselves. But some of the most important questions we encountered didn't have a single right answer. And as I reflect on our commencement theme, Sober for X, I realized the most important X in my own journey wasn't found in a textbook or a classroom assignment. It was a question that followed me through my education, through my career, and throughout my life. How do we create a world where people feel like they belong? My own journey to this stage has not been a traditional one. I have spent more than 2 decades working in education, particularly in early education. Along the way, I became a husband, a father, a professional, and eventually a college student again. And like many adult learners, I was balancing responsibilities that didn't stop when class ended. I remember putting my children to bed around 8 o'clock at night, and then I would go to sleep for a few hours with them, wake up around 12 o'clock, and spend the next 3 hours studying, writing papers, and completing assignments before starting the next day all over again. And it wasn't easy. There were moments when I wondered whether I could keep up with everything. Moments when I questioned whether I belonged in higher education at all. But over time, I came to an important realization. The challenge was never my intellectual capacity. The challenge was whether I felt included in the learning environment. And the stakes of that inclusion couldn't be any higher. And as a disruptor of the school to prison pipeline, I have to confront a brutal reality every day. Because in the community where I was raised in New Haven, Connecticut, the incarceration rate is higher than the college graduation rate. And that is what happens when systemic exclusion comes unchecked. It starts in early childhood and it ends in a cage. But at the University of Washington, I found something that transformed my experience as a learner. I found professors and classmates who value different perspectives. I found classrooms where dialogue mattered. I found spaces where experiences were not something to overcome, but something to contribute. And for the first time, I truly felt that my voice belonged in the conversation. And that changed everything for me. It helped me understand something that I now believe applies to all of us. Every human being wants to belong. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want to know that who we are matters. And this lesson has shaped not only my experience as a student, but also my work in early childhood education. Every day, I see what happens when children feel safe, valued, and connected. They become more confident, more curious, more willing to take risks and learn. When children know they belong, they all thrive. And the truth is, that doesn't disappear when we become adults. College students need it, our coworkers need it, our families need it, our communities need it. All of us need that belonging. And this is why I believe the X that we are solving for today is belonging. Because as graduates, we are entering professions and communities where we will have the opportunity to shape the experiences of others. Some of us will become educators. Some will become counselors, leaders, researchers, advocates, policymakers, and innovators. And whatever path we choose, we will help determine whether people feel welcomed or excluded, valued or overlooked, safe or unheard. That is a tremendous responsibility, but it is also an incredible opportunity. Because every day, through the choices we make and the way we show up for others, we help create the kind of world that people experience. So we leave this place, I find myself thinking less about what we have accomplished and more about what we will build next. Will we create classrooms, workspaces, and communities where people feel they have to earn their place? Or will we create spaces where people are seen, respected, and welcomed for who they are? I hope we choose the second. I hope we create the kinds of environments that bring out the best in people, places where curiosity is encouraged, differences are valued, and everyone has the opportunity to contribute. Because when people know they belong, they don't just succeed, they thrive. So to the class of 2026, as we leave this place and begin the next chapter of our lives, may we continue solving for X, not as a problem to be completed, but as a future that we build together. So congratulations, class of 2026. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Nadir. And now Dr. Lynn Dietrich, Assistant Dean for Undergraduate Programs, will introduce our students earning bachelor's degrees.
Thank you, Dean Tuan. I'm going to go off script for a second to acknowledge our graduate students, friends, and family who are remaining for the entire ceremony. Thank you for being here in solidarity with our undergraduate students. Today, we honor students who have demonstrated extraordinary commitment, resilience, and purpose in completing degrees in early childhood and family studies, early care and education, education, communities, and organizations, and education studies, as well as students completing a minor in education, learning, and society. Throughout their time in our college, these graduates have explored how people learn, grow, and thrive across cultures, communities, and stages of life. They have engaged deeply with complex questions about identity, belonging, opportunity, and justice, while examining their own roles in creating positive change. Through partnerships with schools, community organizations, families, and youth-serving programs, our students have learned not only from their coursework, but also from the communities alongside whom they have worked. Those experiences have strengthened their commitment to education equity and prepared them to lead, advocate, teach, and serve in meaningful ways. As graduates of the University of Washington College of Education, they leave with the knowledge, skills, and determination to make a difference in the lives of children, youth, families, and communities. We invite all of our graduates and guests to remain with us. You're here. Thank you for remaining here through the end of the ceremony as we celebrate each student's achievement and this important milestone. We will now begin reading the degrees of the names of students earning their Bachelor of Arts.
Delano Cordova.
María Fernanda García Cueva.
Kayla Elise Montoya Isaac.
Andrea Hernández Ramos.
Kyla Akeda.
Kwa Tran.
Michael Tuan Trin Jr.
Ari Tubagahan.
Lennon Torres Marquez.
Evelyn Maritza Ortega Sanchez.
Alvin Tang.
Raylina Dawn Swakeling.
Philippe Lay.
Steph Doe.
Jake Cheff.
Guo Hong Lee.
Kevin Lam Nguyen.
Jia An An Tan.
Brian Rocca.
Riley Gustus.
Christopher Jordan Sicard.
Audrey Graham.
Abigail Williams.
Zamaya James.
Mia Pinnell.
Jaden Hollaby.
Taylor Wong.
Nadir Salam.
Agnes Yiting Wong.
Oli Lei.
Xiaoying Chen.
Hamida Tanwir.
Talalale Polele Upuese.
Melissa Malagón.
Michelle Vivi Fan.
Carlos Ramón Amezcua Sotelo.
Tiana Tran.
Michelle Mendoza Navarro.
Michelle Irwin.
Ruth Blinderman.
Avery Crenshaw.
Emily Timberlake.
Danny Wakefield.
Ariana Texera.
Matthew Awesome.
Chloe Rain Moffett.
Cassie Gadler.
Amara Yallop.
Avery Altig.
Caitlin Parkin.
Ariana Victoria Roybal.
Yasmin Abdurisak Hassan.
Amaya Grinnell.
Noor Yusuf Al-Khalidi.
Paul Yoon.
Naham Sarhini.
Amino Salat.
Yahaira Ruiz G.
Angeline Lee.
Melinda Christine Torres.
Mina Lai.
Kara Elizabeth Kim.
Kaylin Kim.
Yvonne Lopez Ramirez.
Juliana Medina.
Hali A. Farah.
Paola Juarez.
Faiza Abdi.
Erica Gaona.
Uba Badon.
Angelica Miranda Maria Estrada.
Hayat Abshir.
Isabella Rivera.
Samira Arten.
Alexandra Nicole Martinez Soriano.
Laden Yusuf.
Kathy Lee.
Emmy Seven Becker.
Kirthana Jagannath.
Nicole Bissett.
Wendy Tang.
Sarah Nicole Grove.
Margaret Way.
Mary Elizabeth Merrill.
Tiffany Chang.
Sonali Saraf.
Ellie Ye.
Deidre Nika Kamargong Dairit.
Nicole Chaudhry.
Kailani Akiyama.
Isdihar Mohammed.
Charisma Randolph.
Haley Knobler.
Sarah Alexis Flores James.
Madison Kinder Lestat.
Bryce Shea Anderson.
Kaylee Maiton Vo.
Isabel Peterson Spalding.
Maritza Cruz Antonio.
DJ Shug.
Faith St. Hilaire.
Felix Long.
Vienne Peterson.
Caitlin Rose Vanderhorst.
Kathy Cesar Ramirez.
Caitlin Wales.
Salma Owais.
Krista K. Tompkins.
Giselle Perez Moreno.
Catalina Romo Nakayama.
Alana Zamiska.
Skylin Rayanne Hardwick.
Olivia Wild.
Kendall Helen Howell.
Anna Dahlman.
Kira Swanson.
Ali Espinoza.
Cami Mayon.
Maymoon Ali.
Jeannie Kelly Leon.
Elaine Liu.
Gabriella Sleeman.
Tzu-Chien Lo.
Min Lee.
Diana Rubin.
Lucia Nichols McAusland.
John Shively.
Kamaya Mahajan.
Patrick Kim.
Nevea Palomares.
Mariana Carrillo Sarabia.
Samantha Gonzalez.
Giada Lesotebe.
Ruby Jane Walmsley.
Angelina Wang.
Carmen Galia Sanchez Zavala.
Daniela Mejia Garcia.
Lily Liu.
Emerson Roth.
Anthony Gomez Hidalgo.
Elise Marie Baker.
Qian Shu.
Kira Andress.
Xiaowei Cheng.
Brian Wen.
Sharon Jintek Hong.
Tyler Dempsey.
Ariane Nicole Rosario.
Got it. Lily Ingracio.
Haley Crawford.
Shannon Paige Knower.
Darian Pack.
Johan Flores Vasquez.
Mario Santana Trujillo.
Maya Soto.
Spencer Crosby.
Riyang Ma.
Angela Luis Balboa Saya.
Solteria Lee.
JJ Montalongo.
Ife Zhao.
Alice Wegar.
Brooke Baus.
Vivian Guy.
Chuan Tang.
Iman Muhammad.
Kishu Lang.
Kenneth Tran.
Yuja Zhang.
Korea Jamal.
Jiajun Zhang.
Hanchu Zhang.
Evelyn Sotelo Mianjos.
Yi Zheng.
Livia Joanne Reagan.
Yu Shisha.
Wanjun Lee.
Mandy Shit.
Anthony Wong.
Kefan E.
Ismahan Weila.
Yen Tien.
Hanan Ali.
Zihan Zhou.
Elizabeth Reynolds.
Leah Lee.
James Christopher Mahena.
Manuel Ramirez Alonso.
Maggie Peterson.
Mitchell Swartzel.
James Nguyen.
Jesus Mata Urbina.
Jasleen Kerr.
Tiffany Ibanez. Ethan Alexander Allen Baldwin.
We also have early care and education online graduates streaming this from home tonight. So I have a few names. Miriam Ali, Stephanie Bailey, Azare Clark, Joe Crilly, Becky Freeman, Amanda Hadler, Nikki Cannon Howe, Sierra Harris, Jamie Helgeson, Isabel Jang, Rama Khan, McKenna Lake, Chloe McKay, Christina Pickett, Ashley Ray, Tara Allison S., Sonali Saraf, Angelea Smith, and Jasmine Trujillo Ochoa, and Becca Tanzi.
All right, graduates, we're almost done. Congratulations to our Bachelor of Arts graduates, and heartfelt thanks to everyone who has supported them along the way. Graduates, we've reached the final moments of this celebration. In just a moment, we will conclude our ceremony with the meaningful tradition of the turning of the tassel, symbolizing your transition from student to graduate. After the program, I hope you'll stay and savor this moment together. Take photos, share hugs, celebrate with your loved ones, and introduce your family and friends to the faculty and staff who have been cheering you on throughout your time with us. Before we close, I want to offer a special thank you to the architect of today's celebration, Assistant Dean for Academic and Student Affairs, Marty Howell, along with the many faculty and staff members whose dedication, care, and hard work made this evening possible. Please join me in thanking them. At this time, I ask all students to please rise. Graduates, you may now move your tassel from right to left to officially mark the completion of your degrees. On behalf of the faculty and staff of the University of Washington College of Education, congratulations! We're proud of you. As you leave this place, remember that the world needs what you have to offer. It needs your knowledge, your compassion, your creativity, and your commitment to making a difference in the lives of others. Whether you're teaching in classrooms, supporting families, conducting research, shaping policy, leading organizations, or serving your communities, your work matters. This year's theme has challenged us to think about solving for X. As you move forward, there will be new questions to answer, new challenges to navigate. You may not always know exactly what comes next, but you've got the skills, the resilience, and the courage to keep moving forward. I am inspired by who you are, what you've accomplished, and by who you will be in the years ahead. And remember, no matter where life takes you, the University of Washington College of Education will always be your community, cheering you on. Thank you, and congratulations again to the class of 2026. Go Huskies!